Lisa was talking about how blessed we are and selfish we are. And I was listening to a lady on NPR, or not NPR, but Bot Radio or something on the way home. She's from South Africa, and she was talking about what socialism is really like. Because there's people in the government that really want us to turn towards socialism, and she was really explaining what it was really like in South Africa. And she said that while the Americans were deployed over there in South Africa, their trash was treasure to them.
Come on.
And she said, when Americans left and the Russians came in, they took everything. They took even the trash that the Americans left, because they left them nothing. So we really are blessed beyond all measure, and we don't even realize it. We as a people are so selfish at times. And Lisa says, you said a minute ago, I don't know why. This is just what the Lord's made me feel like, and I sit back there going, I know exactly why you're saying everything you're saying. Because it lines up with what I've got in my sermon tonight. So I would title this message, Choose. And choose means to pick out something or someone as being the best or most appropriate of two or more alternatives. Pick out the best of something or someone as that is two or more alternatives. And so where I'm going with this is that I had another dream, and of course, remember last time I preached, I said that God had given me a dream, and I preached about the love that I felt like God was giving, that like He was sharing with me, this is how I love you. And it's funny that I had another dream, and then she asked me to preach immediately after. But this dream, and I want to say that I feel like that's a blessing in a lot of ways, because in Job 33:15 says, in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed, when He openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instruction.
Come on. Come on.
And I thought, wow.
Yeah.
That's what He did. So in my dream that I had, and I shared this with Tommy Dory and Tommy Will, and neither one of them are here tonight, but I'll share it with all of them now, is I was walking down the side of a road, and I stopped and sat down on the edge of the grass. And as I sat down, I picked up my hands, and I had two pairs of black shoes. They were almost identical. They were black dress shoes. And as I'm looking at them, a dump truck drives by, and dust blows all over them. So Brother Tommy Will says, you know what I think that means is you have a choice of which pair of shoes you put on. Do you put on the shoes of the gospel, or do you pick another way? So that partially inspired this message. And so as I don't know whether I put the shoes on or not, I don't remember that part, but I do remember getting up and walking and continued walking, and I fell. And as I'm laying there on the road, I hear a voice, and it says the following. It says, go and preach into Ramaka. Now, I don't know what that means. And I said, what does that mean? It says, until a bloodline can be established for marriage.
Woo-hoo!
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So now, I'm looking up, and as I'm looking up the front of the car, on the front, it looks like Alice's car, is a license plate on the very front placard. And it says, and it was written in crayon, like a child wrote it, James 5, 1-8. Missy, you put that up there? Go to, now, well, I don't know what that's doing.
I don't know. I don't know why it's playing that.
I don't know why it's doing that either, but that's how I turn to it. Actually, I'll just read it here. It says, go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rest of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. And I want to insert right there Luke. Because in Luke 16 it says, no servant can serve two masters.
Come on.
For one will hate the other and love, or hate one and love the other, or he will hold the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. And mammon, when you look up that word, means treasures. So verse 4 says, behold the hire of the laborers who have reaped down their fields, which is a view kept back by fraud. They crieth. And the cries of them which they have reaped entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabbath. And why is that? Because man has made the decision. He made a choice to serve mammon. Verse 5 says, Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. But here was the best part. Because of the message I got from God said, Go and preach until the bloodline can be established by marriage. It says, Be patient therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and hath long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain.
Yes, glory.
Be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. And I love verse 7 because it says that he waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth. He has long patience for it. He's waiting for us to make a choice. Are we going to follow God, or are we going to follow man? Are we going to follow righteousness, or are we going to follow the world?
Come on.
So one of the things I want to talk about tonight too is idols. So this is about me personally. I had a little game on my tablet, and it was, I don't know if any of you know what Candy Crush is. It's a real girly game. But I was a champion at it, right? I love puzzles. I love lining those things up and making the candy turn into a big explosive thing, and it blows everything up. I loved it. What I did was I put it before God. So when I was playing this game, I had it for about 8 days, and I was playing and playing and playing and playing and playing and playing. And then I looked at the scoreboard, number 15 in the nation, number 1 in the nation for the most levels completed in 1 week. If that's not a problem, I don't know what is. I deleted that game. 1 Samuel 7:3, And Samuel spake unto the house of Israel, saying, If ye do return unto the Lord with all your hearts, then put away the strange gods and Ashtaroth from among you, and prepare your hearts unto the Lord, and serve him only, he will deliver you out of the hands of the Philistines. And in 1 Chronicles it says, For all the gods of the people are idols, but the Lord made the heavens. All the gods of the people are idols. I had made a game, which was my idol, I made it into a god, because I paid more attention to it than I did the one true living God, who's always trying to correct me. Right? The word says that he chastises the one that he loves. He chastises those that are sons. If he chastises you not, then you're a bastard, is what the word says. I love how it says in 1 Kings, it says, And Elijah came unto all the people and said, How long halt ye between two opinions? If the Lord be God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. So, how long will we be between two opinions? How long will I sit around and ignore God for my own pleasure? How long will I don't know, go to a baseball game instead of going to church on Sunday? Am I willing to do that? Are we willing to do that? We can't be between two opinions. We got to know that God comes first before everything. If you don't pick God first, it leads to destruction. In your marriage, if you don't pick God first, it'll destroy you. God first, spouse next, children next.
That's right. Amen.
That's right.
Amen.
Out the way. That's right.
And one of the things I want to talk about tonight too is choosing righteousness. You have to make the choice to choose righteousness. In Proverbs 1:22-33 says, How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and the fools hate knowledge. I'm kind of goes right along with what you were saying earlier about how we won't listen to God. And especially the next verse says, Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I pour my spirit out upon you. I will make known my words unto you, because I have called, and ye refuse. I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. But ye set at naught all my counsel, and would none of my reproof. So he's talking to you, he's calling you, but you're ignoring him. You won't be corrected by him. You despise any correction he tries to give you. The next verse says, I will also laugh at your calamity. I will mock you when fear cometh. That's what he says. Exactly. He will laugh at you. Yeah, it's kind of like if I was driving down the road and I stopped somewhere and a guy from off the street walked up and said, hey, can I borrow your car? Would I allow him to borrow my car? Never get it back, right? No, I wouldn't do that. Neither would you. So, whenever I love how whenever someone's, and it says it right there, on the next verse says, when your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you, then you shall call upon me, but I will not answer.
Yeah.
They will seek me early, but they shall not find me. If you ever want to see a group of people get really religious really fast, be on an airplane in terrible turbulence.
Oh, yeah.
They'll start praying, they'll start calling on the name of God,
Yeah.
or they get real religious real fast. I'm real religious on the ground. I don't like to fly. I hate it. Lord, please give me the peace to get through this. Give me the peace to get through this. Give me the peace to get through this. I can't do this on my own. And then I'm hanging on like this to the seat the entire way because I don't like it. I hate the takeoff. I hate the landing worse because the landing is when you're flying along and all of a sudden it feels like they put the brakes on in the sky and you actually lean forward in your seat a little bit. It's not natural. I hate that. The touching down I actually love. I love that part of the ground because at least I know I'm on the ground. If everything goes wrong, maybe I'll just skid to the end of the runway. I don't know. At least I'm on the ground again. Verse 29 says, for they that hated knowledge and did not choose to fear the Lord. The word choose there in the Hebrew is bakar, and it means man's choice. But it's interesting because in that structure, it's an accusative tone. It's like you chose this path. Verse 30 says, and they would none of my counsel, and they despise my reproof. There it is again. They won't listen to me. They get mad at me when I'm trying to correct them. What kind of people are we? We can't listen to God? Is it about us? Or is it about Him? And he goes on to say, therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. Kind of like, what does it say over in the New Testament? It says that they give you over to reprobate mind. Yeah. Yeah, there's no more sacrifice for sin, no more remission for sin. Another part of choosing is choosing to help others. Paul did this the best, I think. And he said, for me to live is Christ. What does that mean? For me to live here is to do Christ's work and to preach Him crucified, right? He says, to die is gain. That's for me. It means I get to go home. He says, but if I live in the flesh, this is the fruit of my labor. Yet what I shall choose, I won't not. For I am in a strait betwixt two, having a desire of the heart to do Christ, which is far better. But he makes the choice, and it says, nevertheless, to abide in the flesh is more needful for you. It was a selfless love to further the mission of Christ. Sometimes we have to choose joy. Joy should be natural, but it's not. We tend to focus on all the negative things in life, and we're never happy about anything. And One thing I'd like to say too is, don't rely on anybody else for your happiness. Don't rely on anybody for your joy.
Come on.
If I listened to my boss, I'd be miserable all the time.
Yeah.
Misery loves company.
Come on.
And I think he's lonely. He wants company. Don't rely on anybody for your joy. You gotta find joy and contentment.
Yes.
You know, in Philippians 4:11 says, "Not that I speak in respect of want, for what I have learned, but whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content." No matter what is going on in my life,
Stop making him cry.
I am content. I am finding the joy in all things. You know, part of finding joy in all things is the word says to always be singing hymns to yourself or psalms, singing praises to Him. If you're doing it constantly, you'll find that you don't have time for anything else. I'm driving home the other day, and normally I turn on the radio because it helps break the time up and the monotony of the drive, and you know, no one can drive. It is. But I'm driving down 412, and I just said, I'm turning off the radio. There was a song I heard the other day by Charity Gill. I shared it with Lisa, and I start singing that song in my head over and over and over and over again. And before I realized it, I was at home. That drive didn't seem so bad after all. It's usually 40 minutes of torment of everybody. 112 is a dangerous road to be driving on. It's almost as dangerous as the interstate. At least there's less speed. You're not going as fast on 112. If people pull up in front of you all the time, they have no regard for you. You have no idea that you're barreling through there at 55 miles an hour, 60 or 70. I've seen Betty drive down it. I've done this, and Betty's just totally ignore me. I start flashing my headlights out and honking the horn when I drive past her. But you get those songs in your head, and you get to praising God, and you get to thinking, and then the next thing you know, you're driving down the road like this with one hand up in the air, and I'm sure everybody's like, what is this guy waving at? What's wrong with you? He's waving at everybody. You're just praising God, really. You're not paying much attention to anything. Hebrews says, let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as you have. For He said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. One of the things I wanted to talk about tonight too is in your joy is not having discontentment. And in Proverbs 6:16-19 says, these 6 things doth the Lord hate, yea, the 7th are an abomination unto Him. And we've heard these 1,000 times. We're going to hear 1,001 though. It says, a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift, running to mischief, a false witness that speaks lies. Here's the 7th one. And I've seen it in church, is he that soweth discord among brethren.
Yeah.
Now, the dictionary says discord is a disagreement between two people, but what it actually means from the scripture, it's the Hebrew word for that is medon, and it means strife or contention. So it's one who intentionally causes problems within the brethren.
Yeah.
And that would be a good example. That would be like, you know what? When I'm pastor of this church, we're not gonna get rid of these chairs. And if you don't like it, tough. That's causing contention. That's causing strife. If you don't like it, it's my way or the highway. That's strife. Now we're gonna have disagreements. People always have disagreements, and you got to agree to disagree. But as long as it's within righteousness, and they're not crossing a bounds of righteousness there, when you're causing strife and contention, then you become an abomination unto God.
Yes.
There are many abominations unto God.
Yes.
Sodom and Gomorrah is one of them. And you just got classified with Sodom and Gomorrah right there if you cause strife and contention. In Revelations it says, and behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. I am the Alpha and Omega. I am the beginning and the end. I am the first and the last. I added all the extra I ams in there, but that's what it is.
That's right.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, and that they may have a right to the tree of life and enter in through the gates of the city. So let's back up to Proverbs 19. He that soweth discord among his brethren. If you do everything else right and you sow discord among your brethren, is he going to look at you and say, depart from me, you worker of iniquity, I knew you not, or are you going to go through the gate? Think about it. Something God, an abomination is something that is loathed, that is hated. We've got to strive to do better.
That's right.
I hear, and the preachers and others say, we got to get out into the world and spread the gospel. It's not about being in here, it's about being out there. And absolutely 100% right. We can't get it right in here. How are we going to get it right out there?
Amen. Amen.
One of the most underquoted verses I've ever heard in my entire life in the Bible. The whole Bible, this is the most underquoted one. And I'm going to stop short of it and see if anybody can finish it for me. It says, and if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve. Again, there's your choice. Choose who you will serve. Whether the gods of your fathers that your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. What's the rest of it? Amen. That is the most underquoted scripture. I mean, in our house we have this great big metal placard above our bed. It says, as for me and my house we will serve the Lord. And I think about that all the time. I'm like, man, where's the rest of that scripture at? Because it gives you Joshua 24:15, but then you go look up Joshua 24:15, there's a whole lot before it. But you have to make a choice. You have to decide, who am I going to follow this day? What am I going to do this day? How am I going to spend my time this day? Who am I going to serve this day? Right? Well, that's what the Lord gave me, and it kind of went right in hand with what Lisa was talking about. So, there you go, sister. It's all yours.